Hey everyone, this is NQ Productions here, and welcome back to NQ Archives. So, last time on episode 14, we looked back at my Follow Me animation, and, unsurprisingly, it ended up being among the best animations I've made on the channel. But, is the animation that I'm going to talk about today also going to be one of the best animations I've ever made? Well, let's find out, because episode 15 is going to be on my Death of Elizabeth Afton animation. Now, before we dive into today's episode, if you could click that like button and hit the subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. The support helps keep this channel running, and it allows me to make more awesome content for you all. Anyways, with all that out of the way, let's talk about Elizabeth dying. The Death of Elizabeth Afton was an animation that was released on August 13th, 2021. And, as the name of the animation suggests, it showcases the death of Elizabeth Afton, one of the most important events of the FNAF timeline. And I think my animation tells this event of the timeline pretty well. I like how it starts off with Henry talking to his wife, and then we have the kids enjoying Circus Baby, and then William tells Elizabeth he can't play with Circus Baby just like in the games. And then, of course, Elizabeth doesn't listen to her daddy, approaches Circus Baby, and then dies. And that's the recap of the story, and even though it doesn't sound like a lot, my video does manage to execute these scenes and plot pretty well to make a pretty well-paced video. The pacing isn't too fast, and the animation is accurate to the original source material, just like my previous lore animations, which leads to a pretty good story overall. On top of that, the audio used in this animation is from yet another Mr. Creepypasta hidden lore video, just like the Death of Purple Guy Remastered. And the audio is used in the same way as the Death of Purple Guy Remastered. Cuts out all the filler and only keeps the essential components of the audio that further the story. Yes, that does make this animation very short, but at least there's nothing distracting us from what we actually want to see, the character interactions, and all of the build-up to the big moment of Elizabeth dying. You know, if I had a nickel for every time I made an animation using Mr. Creepypasta's audio to create a well-told animation with no filler, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. So, the story is executed well, flows well, and is accurate to the OG FNAF games, there's no filler, and the audio is used effectively. Seems like the perfect adaptation of this iconic FNAF moment in animation form to me, right? Well, there is one aspect of this Death of Elizabeth Afton animation that does hold this video back from being amazing, and that's the visuals. On their own, they don't look great. They look pretty amateurish with the simple designs and colors. And not only that, but the animation runs at 1 frame per second, compared to the usual 12 frames per second I do for all my other animations. So yeah, these visuals aren't up to the standards of my usual content, but at the end of the day, it could have looked a lot worse. Although, there is a reason the animation looks the way it does. Taking the words right from the description of the Death of Elizabeth Afton, now, you may have noticed the visuals are a bit different for this video. The main reason is that because I didn't want to spend too long making this video since my main animation project at the moment was the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake. Since that animation was taking a lot longer than I expected, I wanted to purposely lower the quality of the visuals in this video so that I didn't burn myself out by working for many months on a new animation at the same time as the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake. Animation is easier said than done, so that's why the visuals look the way they do. And even if they aren't amazing, since none of my other videos look like this, it gives the Death of Elizabeth Afton some of that so bad it's good kind of charm and identity to it. At least to me, you can debate about that in the comments below. But yeah, despite the visuals objectively looking mediocre and bad, the charm of them makes them passable in my eyes. What else is there I can say about the Death of Elizabeth Afton? That's kinda it. You can't really say a lot about these shorter animations in an NQ Archives episode. But anyways, the Death of Elizabeth Afton is all done being talked about, and I think it's solid. The story is well done, the audio is used in an effective way, and the actual animation, while flawed, has its charm to it. Yes, this is easily the weakest lore animation I've ever made up to this point, but I don't think it's bad. In fact, I'm gonna give this animation a 7 out of 10. Yeah, you heard me. I'm still happy with this animation, and even with its obvious issues, I still enjoy looking back at it because it's a good FNAF lore animation that tells its story well. I'm happy to say so far that there's not been a single bad FNAF lore animation on this channel, and I hope it stays that way for a long time. Well, there you have it, guys. That was episode 15 of NQ Archives. So, what do you guys think of my Death of Elizabeth Afton animation? Do you share the same controversial, positive thoughts towards it, or do you absolutely despise it? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching the video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!